Welcome to the April 2025 Bend Market Update. We're going to start today with a look into Wall Street and a fear index, actually really relating to what investors feel, what they're thinking, what's happening on a global macro level economically. So as we can see here in April, we are really peaking in terms of the fear with investors. We're going to zoom out a little bit, look at the last 20 years or so, and the fear that investors have, the uncertainty that they have right now is peaking on par with the pandemic years, as well as the 2008-2009 financial crisis. So one thing I do want to point out, while there, again, is a ton of fear, a ton of uncertainty economically right now, we do often see that fear and uncertainty subside pretty quickly after the peak. So I just highlighted looking back in 2008, 2009, you see it subside right after the peak. And same thing, early pandemic, where we had that peak of fear and uncertainty, and it was subsiding very quickly thereafter. So something definitely to watch here. Spring into summer is where we go economically from a global macro perspective, as it does affect the real estate market. Now, in terms of recession talk, a recession does not necessarily mean falling prices in real estate. It's a bit counterintuitive. As you can see, looking back at the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 recessions, only in 2 of them did we have falling prices, and only one really showed a significant yield in dropping home prices during that recession. The rest of them, we did see decent appreciation. So as we move forward into home price forecasts, you can see anywhere from kind of 0.6% to close to 5% appreciation forecasted by all of these experts. Only a couple of them showed a minor drop in home prices. When you average all of it out, experts are expecting home prices to raise about 2.7% in 2025, at least as of April 1st here. So moving forward, a recession means falling mortgage rates. Now, another counterintuitive piece, but while prices may not come down, recessions, if one does happen here, often do mean mortgage rates getting lower. So again, we'll see what that holds. I'm going to move forward here off of this chart to our 6-month mortgage rate chart, just to show you and remind you guys that it's been super volatile out there. We've been bouncing around between about 6.5% and 7%, give or take here. So we'll see. Again, depending how things go economically in the country, around the world, if we do hit a recession in the United States, it'll be interesting to watch and see if that does have an effect on mortgage rates dropping, or do we stick in a similar range here as we go through the rest of the year. So moving forward to Bend Beacon Report, and this is again data from homes closed in March of 2025. Our median home price was up a bit to $748K. We had 122 closings, which was also up. 3 months of inventory right now, which is no change, and then 32 median days on market, which is a decent drop as expected for this springtime of year. Looking at MLS data for Bend, again, these are homes actively listed that have not closed. The median days on market is currently 52. That's a bit of a drop. We have 587 total listings, which is up almost 16%. So again, expect it for this springtime of year when more listings are coming on. You had 257 listings with change price, and your average change from original price was down about 4.75%. Looking at that median price in thousands, we saw it bump up here from February to March. Again, that is seasonal. If we look back in previous years, again, you're seeing this peak as we head into summer. We do believe that's starting here now. Again, that spring rush, pending, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, what things do economically, we do forecast this to climb a bit more as we head into summer. In terms of median price per square foot, that falls right in line. As we can see here, there hasn't really been a ton of change, and even just referencing the median price overall on that last slide, it's been kind of a steady market, following seasonal trends, but really not a ton of change either way, although we do expect to see this bump up as we see demand increase into the nicer months. Looking at inventory, we're sitting at 3 months of inventory as mentioned. I'd love to see this number get up closer to 4, if not a touch above 4, just to give buyers a little bit more of a choice. But we're still sitting at a much better level relative to the 1, 2 months, 1.5 months that we saw from 2022 all the way up to spring 24, when we start to jump up just a bit. In terms of days on market, we are seeing that seasonal drop again from 53 in January to 45 in February, now 32 in March. Again, if we look back at our records, February to March, 51 to 13 to 10 to 7 here in 2023, and then in 2024 we went 40, 20, and then ended up at 10 days on market in April. So if you're a buyer right now, just keep that in mind. Demand is steadily rising, as it usually does in the spring, and we'll see where we end up in this number. Is it going to be 10? Is it going to be 15 days on market? You'll have to tune in next month and see. So the bottom line, start your engines. The spring market is here. We do advise that sellers list now before seller competition heats up. Inventory is steady, but we are seeing that increase in listings. Now's the time over the next month or so to beat out really the bulk of the listings that will end up coming on this year. Despite higher interest rates and macro uncertainty, buyers are out in force and sellers are preparing to transact with more realistic pricing than last year. So buyers still are buying, as we've seen in previous years, even with these tougher conditions. All right. And one change we want to note is that sellers are still selling, but they're a little more realistic here relative to the last few years. We're noticing listings coming on that are priced a bit better, still seeing some of those price cuts, but sellers a little bit more in tune relative to what happened with the price increases during those pandemic years. So more of the story, get in touch with your agent early to plan for success. As we always say, you want to be prepped ahead of time, have your strategy in place before you have to pull the trigger on a listing or on a purchase of a buyer. Myself or any other team member at Relo are always happy to have a conversation. Please never hesitate to reach out. Hope you have a wonderful month of April, and we'll look forward to seeing you back here for the next update in May.